The Bruins are up 2-1 in the opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in Detroit. Can they win one more at Joe Louis Arena, and will they face the Habs in the next round? Welcome to Bruins Daily TV from Studio 73 at Suffolk University. That's Tim Rosenthal, and I'm Erica Lee. Thanks for joining us today. Tim, we have so much to talk about already.
I think we have a paper full of topics in front of us.
We do.
I think we could have used a couple more pages, to be honest.
Possibly. Let's talk a little bit about Tuukka Rask so far in this series, who's been outstanding. Just 2 goals against in the first 3 games so far, 84 saves on 86 shots. It's just the Tuukka that we saw in the regular season, but amplified.
It kind of reminds me of what he did against the Penguins in the conference finals last year when they had the high-powered guns in Crosby and Malkin and James Neal and Iginla, who was happened to be on the third line, and Chris Kunitz and Chris Letang, obviously. This year, obviously, Detroit has their share of injuries, but they still have some good young guys like Gustav Nyquist, Tomas Tatar on the second line, and Pavel Datsyuk. He had a nice wrist shot in Game 1 to win for the game winner there. But ever since, Tuukka's just been lights out. And even in Game 1, he was stellar. And I just don't know what to think other than it's just too impressive for me.
It is very impressive. Now, the other thing that's been so great in this series so far, aside from Tuukka, are the young guys on this team really stepping up. Some of these guys spent the most of their season down in Providence. They're just making their first appearance up here, first or second appearance up here, but they're really contributing so far.
Yeah, you look at a guy like Justin Florek, who got the Bruins' first goal of the playoffs. It was wrapped by Jimmy Howard, mind you, but he made the most out of it. He's making the most out of his opportunity on the third line. You look at what he did in Game 3 and the last 5 minutes or so, just hogging the puck for like a minute, 2 minutes in the Red Wing zone. Even though they didn't score, he single-handedly was a monster on that shift there. And then Jordan Caron, it's been a long time coming. I think he hasn't scored since the Stone Age, it seems like. But finally, and who knows if he's going to stick out throughout the playoffs. He is designated as the 13th forward after all. We have to see whether when Kelly or Pye comes back, or both come back, whether these young guys will stick around on the roster. But Caron, definitely a nice surprise for the most part, especially given the regular season he's had. When he was inserted in the lineup, nothing could go right for him. Now, there's a little skill involved in that fourth line. He brings a big body, bigger than Paille, and I think he's making the most of it, or at least trying to, since he does see this as his last chance after all. And then you look at Dougie Hamilton, Kevin Miller, you look at Matt Barkowski, who had a solid game coming back from the flu as well. All the young guys are contributing. It's nice to see them try and mix with the veterans as well.
It's a good thing that they are contributing, because that's something that hasn't been going so well for the Bruins in the playoffs so far. That top line, Lucic, Iginla, Krejci, just 2 assists and 1 goal so far. Krejci has no points yet. The 1 goal comes from Lucic, obviously, in Game 1, or Game 2 rather, and the 2 assists from Iginla.
Yeah, and shockingly enough, David Krejci usually struggles in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if it takes him a while to get going, but when he gets going, he's as good as anyone. He's led the playoffs in scoring 2 of the last 3 years. I think maybe it's only a matter of time. Lucic had, for 3 games, he's been very physical. Obviously, that spear on Danny DeKeyser aside, that got him a $5,000 fine. Maybe probably deserved more, I think, but it is what it is. And in Game 2, he had a nice goal at the second period, assisted by Iginla, and that outlet pass from Torrey Krug set it up, and it was a dagger for Detroit. Here's a team that spent most of the second period in Bruins end, and they got a goal to get within 2-1, and they were pushing hard for the equalizer. Then you look at special teams, the penalty kill, which has been huge for Bruins this series. That penalty kill in particular, I think, has been the biggest difference maker, because if they score on that power play, it's 2-2 and it's a different game. Now it's 3-1. The Bruins are still perfect on the penalty kill against a highly skilled team, and everything seems to be going right for them, even with the first line struggles.
With everything seemingly going right, it concerns me whether or not the Bruins can win another game in Detroit before they come back to Boston. They seem to have really good momentum going. What do you think?
Well, the Red Wings are going to be so desperate Thursday night in Game 4. I have a feeling this is going to be the best you see him play in the series. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough. Yeah, they had Henrik Zetterberg skate for the skate again in first time with contact, I believe, and he's at 60%. And I wonder if they're going to push him a little further down the road than where he's supposed to be coming back. But
to try to get him back for Thursday's
to try
game.
again.
Yeah.
They need everything they can get right now. Bounces, they got that lucky bounce in Game 1, but ever since they haven't gotten any bounces at all. And Jimmy Howard, as good as he was in Game 1, he's been fighting the puck the last 2 games. His defense hasn't been doing enough to bail him out, and he could be in for some trouble.
Let's talk a little bit. We'll skip ahead here. Let's say the Bruins win this series. Montreal has already swept Tampa Bay. What do we think about this series with the Habs?
It's going to be very interesting. I think the Bruins got the better of them the last 2 games, but the Habs are historically give the Bruins troubles. Where you see the Bruins using their physicality now against a more skilled team, they're letting the game come to them. Against the Habs, when they try to be physical, it seems like they're almost chasing them down the ice. And the Habs have speedy guys that can do that to them, that can frustrate them, and in more ways than one. I don't know if we should go into that yet or wait for another preview down the road.
I think we'll wait for another preview down the road.
Good thing.
Unfortunately, I think the Habs have the Bruins' number this season, and we know historically in the playoffs, like you said, things are tough when the Bruins and Montreal play each other.
And Carey Price also has a gold medal. Granted, the defense in front of him isn't as good, but you cannot deny the success he's having this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the 3 Vezina finalists along with Tuukka Rask.
It's very possible. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got your questions about the Bruins and Detroit coming up next on Bruins Daily TV. During his courageous battle with progeria, Bruins Daily was inspired by Sam Burns, a young man who touched the lives of many Boston Bruins fans. Sam lived every day with a smile, offered us advice that was well beyond his years, and was an inspiration to many in the community. Throughout the 2014 Stanley Cup playoffs, some of the Bruins Daily staff, like Tim here, will be growing playoff beards and raising money to help benefit the Progeria Foundation. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Progeria Foundation in celebration of life according to Sam. To donate, please visit the link below. Thank you. We're back on Bruins Daily TV. Erica Lee here alongside Tim Rosenthal. And Tim, we've got some social media questions from this week. So this week, we wanted to know which questions you had about the Bruins in the playoffs. We'll start out over on Facebook, where Tina Placido Giroux said that despite the Lions playing well, if McQuaid, Paille, and Kelly return, wouldn't the Bruins want to shake things up a little bit?
I think down the road you want to have as many veterans as possible. So for that reason alone, I do see a couple of them coming back, whether it's a combination of Kelly and Paille, Kelly and McQuaid, Paille and McQuaid. But I also think McQuaid has played himself out of the lineup with all the injuries. And you look at what Kevin Miller has done. I think he's kind of fit that role McQuaid has played for the last few years. And ironically enough, he overtook Mark Stewart a couple of years ago on their cup run. That's in return, that sent Stewart out to back then it was Atlanta. Now it's Winnipeg, obviously. Right. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think Justin Florek, he'd be the last forward out. So I think if Paille or Kelly return before the start of the second round, I do think Caron's going to be the odd man out.
Probably. Now, Anthony Mangini wanted to know, with the Bruins showing dominance over the Wings so far, how will they fare against a team that's far superior and gave them trouble earlier in the season? Obviously, he's referring to Montreal here.
That is a very good question. As we alluded to before the break, the Habs are a speedy team that gives the Bruins fits, and the Bruins, as physical as they are, they seem to be chasing the Habs around, and they seem to be getting easily frustrated when they can't play their game. During the playoffs, I think that's a different story. I always think the more physical teams are the one who last in the end, and I'm not going to say that the Habs aren't going to give them trouble, because I do think they will. I think that could be a 6 or 7 game series easily. But at the same time, I think the Bruins, from top to bottom, are a more superior team, and I think they can overtake the Habs.
All right, so they may fare well against Montreal. Over on Twitter, Greg Salona, one of our regulars here on the show, asked which player has surprised us the most in the playoff, either positive or negatively?
Positively, I would think 2 guys. One, Justin Florek, obviously, coming from Providence, like Torrey Krug did last year during the playoffs. Not an easy spot to get into, but thankfully they have a veteran team around him, and he's able to fit himself in nicely and just play his role. And obviously, we've seen that. And Karan coming back from a season of hell, seemingly, and bouncing back nicely in these first 3 games. Whether he plays when Kelly or Paille come back is a question. I don't think he does, but he's trying to make the most out of his last opportunity here in Boston, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. And our second tweet isn't really a question, but TF says, all I want for my birthday tomorrow is a Bruins win. Make it happen at Bruins Daily.
Would she like some calamari for her birthday, I'm wondering? I think we should have had it for this show. I don't know.
Possibly. We need somebody to throw an octopus down for us.
Yeah, because we certainly don't want it to hit Tuukka Rask.
This is true.
God forbid.
Well, happy birthday, TF. We hope the Bruins win for you tomorrow. And I think that's all we've got for today.
All right, that was a real quick show. What do you
It
know?
was. Straight and to the point.
Next week, assuming we do have Bruins Habs series to preview, it might not be as quick, and we might have a lot to talk about.
This is true, and hopefully we won't be saying goodbye for the end of the season.
Let's hope not.
All right. Well, thank you from our crew here at Studio 73. That's Tim Rosenthal, and I'm Eric Lee. And we'll catch you next time on Bruins Daily TV.
We belong together. We stand proud and true. Remember when I said that I